everybody and welcome back to the video. I'm your host Oti and now we are at Hetty Feather Series 5 Episode 6. And guess what, guys? They finally found the Dawn Star! Well, that's what's coming up in this episode anyway. So, where we left off last time, the main thing that happened is that Lizzie managed to find a secret tunnel, which leads to what a symbol on the floor which resembles the Dawn Star. And we've got Flo to thank for that, folks, without even knowing. So she does that while everyone else is trying to dig up the folly. So this episode, they have to find a way through the wall. Also, Lady Grenford decides to give Ashok some masculinity lessons as if he needs that shit at the moment. And also wants to learn his native language so she can secretly decipher the clues to the Dawn Star. Meanwhile, things aren't very good with Hetty and Jack, as towards the end she told him that sadly he ain't going to New York. And he's not taking it well in this episode, just to say. And also, a side note, recently, if anyone's watched Strictly, one of the contestants is none other than Private Geordie Shaw. Yes, the guy who played Wilfred Sturgis in that one episode where Sheila falls in love with him and leaves. Just like that. You think he'll use some of that Wilfred Sturgis charm on Katia a second time? Anywho, let's get on with Series 5, Episode 6. The opening monologue first off mentions Brodie, quoting her with, "The Lord loves a trier. Oh, my brother, testify to Reverend Devon." Well, this monologue is about trying as we see Ambrose peeking at the letters. We then see Hetty spying on him as well, and it then mentions that some people try and never give up, as Grenford is given her post for the day. Then Ashok is dressed smartly as per the old bat's request, and wishes for a handkerchief. But the only one Gideon has to offer is one with flowers on it, which he doesn't like the look of. Yeah, I wouldn't approve of that either. Ashok gets based as the series goes on. Hetty then asks if it's wise to keep trying if all you achieve is nothing, as she can't find the parchment under Ambrose's table. Post-titles, we see Edwin cough like he's got a virus, and it is reported that Ambrose took the parchment. But Jack thinks that removing the wooden panels are more important. That she disagrees with, as they aren't having a good time romantically at the moment. Gideon then comes in announcing his arrival and is shushed by Lizzie as he holds a crowbar. Yeah, can you imagine him going round Calendar Hall with that? "Oh, Gideon, why do you have a crowbar on you?" "Oh, nothing, Rosamond." "Nothing, Mrs. Calendar. Don't worry." "Oh." "Bloody hell, he's a thief and all. Right, Flo, looks like we've got another ally." He is told to make a start, but not making too much noise as Ambrose and Flo can't come anywhere near. So Lizzie is going to be bait to lure them away as Flo is currently on her back. Not literally, because if Flo was on her back, she would be piggybacked down the tunnel and they'd be found out. This is the most out of context thing I've ever said on this. So, Hetty will try and get the parchment back and mentions that Agnes can't be told about this either. However, everyone thinks that she should, despite sharing a room with Flo, and neither must Ashok know. Which Gideon has an idea for as Jack argues with Hetty and Edwin coughs even more. You know, I do desire for a good woman by my side. But looking at Jack and Hetty, fuck me, is this what all relationships are like? Ambrose is going out to pay Soames a visit, and he can't wait to get out of Calendar Hall, leaving Flo in charge. So for those who don't know, Soames was one of the older butlers in Calendar Hall, who served under Monty, And this was found out after Ambrose was complimented by Lady Grenford and then went down the rabbit hole of asking about a previous butler. At breakfast, I should say, Rosamond likes Ashok's attire and hopes that he'll entertain Lady Grenford. But Edwin says that she's ill and wants to be taken out for a riding lesson to take his mind off the disappointment of not finding the Dawn Star. Constance then starts to look like the Joker with jam all over her face, and Edwin then gets a handkerchief to help out, as she states very bastely that raspberry is better than blueberry. She's then taken off, and Ashok demands a handkerchief of his own that Gideon offers to go into town to get. Elsewhere, Ambrose is about to leave to see Soames as Hetty tries to follow him, but she is spotted by Flo, who also points out some jobs that she has to do and informs her that she is missing her bonnet. Elsewhere, Lizzie hasn't gotten enough mushrooms that Agnes also comments on, and she goes down back into the cellar. Gideon makes a start on breaking down the wall. Oh dear, which she's going to struggle with. I mean, there is one solution, but it involves calling in the UNSC. You better stand way back, kiddies, and I'm surprised that you don't have the balls to do anything like that, Gideon. A kid like you raised on the streets with a cruel matron for a mother. I'm surprised you ain't calling yourself Gideon. Setting the charges, Sergeant. Ladies, watch and learn. America! 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 Fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah! Go, go, go! Any covenant? No covenant signed, Sergeant! Okay, but keep firing your guns, 'cause we're American! Job well done, guys! Let's get the hell out of here! Oh, and say hi to Mrs. Calendar for me. We still got that date night to do. Briefly, in Rosamond's office, Hetty goes in to look for the details of Soames in the staffing book. And then back into the tunnel, Lizzie is now tasked with embroiling a handkerchief with the initials of Ashok, which includes his full title, reading out Mark J, which sounds a bit like Marge to me. And then in comes Hetty to their fear, and surprise, surprise, Lizzie is also needed as Gideon's not hard work is criticised and is told to chisel the stone bricks out. Lizzie has enough on her plate, and Gideon wonders how he'll be able to do it without making a noise after Hetty promptly leaves without having to listen to what he has to say. And then we are introduced to the character of Soames, who is played by, I think it's the policeman from Call the Midwife, I can't remember, and has also been in Big Finish Doctor Who before. He meets Ambrose, and he is asked about the Dawn Star, and has no information on this. He states that Montague was a rich fool and loved playing pranks on people, suspecting that this is all a joke. So he leaves having failed in his mission, as Hetty lurks behind, but is then found out by Soames. Back at the stables, Ashok wishes to ride a horse that reminds him of the one his father had, as it was stubborn and went her own way, reminding Jack a lot of Hetty. He also thinks that he should visit Lady Grenford, but she isn't as ill as Dolly the horse, who is going to be in the knackers yard soon. AKA, it's going to be put down. Back at Soames's place, Hetty speaks to him, who knows that she's followed her butler, and is told about her and Ambrose being in a chase. Soames tells her what he told Ambrose, and then thinks about how Monty loved a good old riddle, and thinks that he would never have made the quest if there was nothing at the end of it, and advises her to keep looking. Ashok then gets upset about a horse being put down. We find out that Jack is also fatherless, so that's why Jack Jr. was a thief in the last series, because we have to portray fatherless children as criminals, I guess. Ashok tells them of how he wasn't there when his father died and how he had compassion for his horses. And then we get a lecture on putting down animals. And he's quite pro-life at this. I mean, pro-life, you're based. As the Maharaja goes, Jack and Edwin disagree on whether to tell him about what they found in the tunnel or not, as he could use some good news. Then, Rosamond pays a visit to Lady Grenford, who appears to be faking her illness and reports that Ashok can't see her. Then, talks about Brighton, and then Grenford changes the subject back to Ashok. So, it's offered that Constance is fetched instead. Well, the prince then comes in, and Grenford feels much better now and wants to go downstairs. What the fuck are they doing to her character? Either she's ill, or she isn't. I thought she was dying. Down into the kitchen, Lizzie's secret sewing is interrupted by Agnes, who is tired of doing all the chores by herself. Hetty's absence is covered for, and her adopted sister misses seeing Gideon all the time, but is assured that he'd want to spend time with her if he could. Flo then comes in, and then Agnes goes out, giving the miscreant a reason to observe that there are not enough apples. So Lizzie then offers to get some more, but her unusual helpfulness is suspicious to her, and then Ambrose returns. Gideon still isn't through the wall and suspects that there's a room behind him, as Lizzie needs to get the apples up to Flo. She then gives out more relationship advice, urging him to do something nice for Agnes before they end up like Hetty and Jack. He asks how he's going to do that when Agnes herself arrives to tell him off. Him not explaining why he's in there places trust issues between the two and puts more of a risk of Flo and Ambrose knowing, as a pissed off Agnes marches out. Speaking of being pissed off, Ambrose is more than pissed off, as his Dawn Star dreams are shattered, as witnessed afar by Lizzie. He chucks it onto what will be a bonfire, and he wants to leave before giving Flo a harsh talking to and stomping off while grunting. Back with Lady Grenford now, and Ashok tries to advocate to keep Dolly the horse alive by asking her to talk to Rosamond, and is also asked about the Dawn Star and Hetty's whereabouts. He then presumes that she is lying about where she is and is lectured about trust, especially if his new friends value it. If there was one hypocritical character that was the most inconsistent person in this series, it's Lady Grenford. Then Agnes wants to ask Flo to join her for a dance event, but isn't very talkative after Ambrose's meltdown, which then makes her feel ignored. Hetty and Lizzie both return, and the privy is safe to go to, so apparently the excuse was Hetty had something to eat that made her stomach bad. Ashok is also with Lady Grenford, and Edwin needs assistance with some assistants, and Lizzie will be sweeping the stairs, all steering clear of Agnes almost losing her temper. I'm surprised she didn't at this point, because Agnes losing her temper would have been hilarious to see. Jack then goes into the cellar tunnel, catching up with current events, and argues with Hetty about the parchment that Lizzie has in her hand. As nobody knows what it means, they hear a wall collapse. So they rush over to see Soot clearing into what seems to be an empty room. Edwin then spots a vault, and they try to use the parchment to twist the symbols around it to open the vault to reveal nothing, because it doesn't work. Their disappointment is continued, as no matter how hard they try with different combinations, they can't open it. Move out of the way, Homo sapiens. I will open the vault for you. Prothean magic, Prothean magic, Prothean magic, da-da-da-da-da, mind stuff, psychic stuff, woo! No, it does not work. Throw it out of the airlock. What's an airlock, weird bug creature? So, you have not invented space travel yet. In my cycle, We discovered space travel before we discovered social media. And before we discovered space travel, we discovered airlocks that we would throw things out of. Move out of the way, bug creature! I, the Riddler, will try and open this vault myself! Riddler, Riddler, Riddler stuff! Da 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 da! Oh, damn! Not even I could do this! Damn you, Batman! After they gave up, we go to the closing monologue as Hetty reflects on the disappointment as Flo gets sent away by a sulky Ambrose. Then Jack throws his New York flyer into horse muck. Ashok then looks at the Dawn Star casing as they are now too close to stop. So now they have to figure out how to use the parchment. So I think in this episode, Lizzie's acting skills definitely improve with her comedic and quite laid-back dialogue. And then we finally remember Gideon and Agnes's relationship, because we didn't talk about it in the last episode, or the last few episodes, if I remember correctly. In fact, I don't think we even talked about it since episode 1. So that's a bit inconsistent, isn't it? And then we get another lecture about a dreary topic. I think that it would have been much better for Rosamund to explain why the horse is very ill and she can't be alive for much longer, and an argument for putting the horse down. Yeah, and the one most inconsistent thing that they've had in this episode is Lady Grenford faking her illness. The thing that pissed me off mostly is that she's meant to be ill and that she has a health problem, and she's even hinted that her life is coming to an end, but they decide, you know what, let's just piss all over that story and make her feel slightly better, and at the very presence of Ashok. And finally, they manage to find the Dawn Star. Sort of. Up until the vault won't open, and it looks like they've got to wait a little bit longer. And it's only taken the Scooby-Doo gang the incredibly sort of short space of, after what, 6 episodes? So that was pretty short. So now it's time to pass on to Cook Jenkins with Method in the Making. Pretty well surprised it's taken them this long to find the Dawn Star. It'd only take about 3 episodes, as Matron Bottomley would have helped her, Sheila and the She-Mob would have been in the chase, and then we've got the main cast and all. But I think we could ask AI to try and write a better episode. Maybe the Dawn Star is actually a lightsaber crystal. I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, if it was one of the Disney sabers, I'm sure that they would have left it on Earth somehow, and Jon Favreau would probably put Earth in Star Wars as an endless supply drop of whatever, even if it's in a galaxy far, far away. Well, they've got to be in it somehow. Are you seriously defending Disney Star Wars? No, I am not. I wouldn't defend Disney Star Wars if it were the last thing I'd ever see on telly. The problem is, if Earth were in Star Wars, either the Empire, the CIS, or the Sith Empire would have invaded years ago. That's not necessarily true, darling. Oh, can you tell me why? Well, where else are they coming from? And anyway, Boofire191 decided to make a playlist about a scenario where Star Wars came to Earth. There was also another one by Delay Tactics, informing us of a united Star Wars galaxy invading the planet. Well, you're certainly not turning against me if that does happen. I won't, dear, don't worry. Besides, it is all in everybody's heads anyway. It's a fictional universe. A thing that your mind makes up as it goes along. Take the Next Step fanbase's little fantasies about who is shipped with who. They believe in putting same-sex relationships in a children's television show would be worth it. This would have never happened in the days of the Old Republic. On behalf of Korriban and the Sith Empire, hello to the Next Step fan base, and we're better than you ever will be. Says you who's part of a universe that was taken over in that same year. Long before that, Lizzie has great potential in herself to be a master of the Force. A diverse master of the Force at that as well. Somebody who understands what cannot be understood. Who finds out what cannot be found out. Are you starting to sound like me? No, I'm a master of the Force, don't you know? Or did you not know that in the previous series with my apprentice Sheila? In fact, I've moved on from Sheila. She's my new apprentice. Lizzie, you will now be my Padawan, who will learn in the ways of hard work and the Force. Unlike Gideon, who's too afraid to waken the neighbours. But at least they got there in the end. And for what? To reveal absolutely a big door which they can't even open. I'd have probably forced it open with the Force. Or maybe there is something that Rosamund Calendar is not telling them. Perhaps she has the key in her office, and she doesn't even know it. Or it is hidden somewhere in Calendar Hall, which means they'll have to search far and wide for it. And if there were one character that I'd hate in this show even more, it's Lady Bloody Grenford, with a constantly changing health. Either she's ill or she ain't. Is it always like this in your kitchen? Well, it definitely were under me. And you wouldn't say the same for the Trias Academy. Good point, Scion, good point. I also have an announcement. Next time, I will be bringing on my new boyfriend. A boyfriend who is actually there for me and bows to my every will, unlike you, Scion. I dread to think who it's gonna be. Anywho, we gotta go now. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this video, and I will see you all later. Ta-ra!